Hello, friends. Welcome to Time Classes. In the previous class, we have already discussed the importance of vocab. In fact, this is something that we need to discuss and emphasize on uh, almost in every class because we all know that without a good vocabulary, it will be very difficult to crack this exam. And to improve our vocabulary, we have also discussed one or two ways of improving our vocabulary. One particular way of improving our vocabulary, which is one of the most effective ways of improving our vocabulary, is to understand the roots. If we know the roots of the words, if we know which root is being used in the word, it will be very easy for us to come close to the meaning of the word. It may not act as a real dictionary, but it definitely helps you in arriving at the right answer at the time of the examination. So, we'll continue with our today's session on vocabulary, and we'll take up a few words from our handout to understand how we should apply our knowledge and apply the roots into answering the questions. Now, I would ask you to all take out the handout. The handout number is already written on the board. It is VAHO 3532001. This is a vocab handout, and we'll begin with this handout. So please take out the handout, and also in every session you should have a notebook in front of you where you can write all the notes, because writing on the handouts may not have sufficient space. Therefore, it is advised that you should open a notebook also alongside so that you can make all your notes over there. And when you are revising, it will be very easy for you to go through all the notes. So, we begin with the handout, and the first word that we come across is abstract. Now, what do we understand by the word abstract? Abstract can mean something that does not have a physical shape. For example, our thoughts. Our thoughts are said to be abstract. We also have in grammar, we have something known as abstract noun. Now, how do we define an abstract noun? An abstract noun is something that does not have a physical shape. In other words, that cannot be seen or touched, but can be felt. For example, emotions. So, we understand the word of abstract as something that would not be physically existing. Now, if you look at the words over here, do you think you can find a synonym of something that is not actually existing here? Probably not. There is no word which actually means something that does not exist and it doesn't have a fixed shape. Therefore, does abstract have another meaning also? Yes, abstract has another meaning. And for example, if I say, tell me the abstract of the movie, then what do you understand by the abstract of the movie? I'm not talking about the non physical part of the movie. Movie is always non physical. So, when I say abstract of the movie or abstract of the lecture given by somebody, what should you mean by that? The meaning of the word abstract is to write it, to say it in a short version or to summarize. So, abstract has another meaning also, which means to summarize, and you know what the answer is now. Something where we are dealing with a shortened version, a précis of something, and therefore option 2, summary, is the right answer. Now, we also have another word, diagnostic, here. We all know what diagnostic is. In fact, when we see a doctor, he tries to diagnose our problem. So, what do we understand by the word diagnose? Or is it something to do with he comes to know what we are suffering from? Yes. So, the word diagnose relates to know something that you are suffering from, or what is the cause of the problem. That is the diagnosis. We find a word here, a root here in diagnose, and that is COGNO. or COGN. Now, COGNO means to know. And a very simple word that you can relate from here is recognize. We have this word here, COGN. Now, you will see that in diagnose we don't have COGN. What do we have? We have only this word. So, to diagnose means we have OGNO. So, GNO also indicates to know. And in diagnose, isn't the doctor trying to know what is the trouble with us? Therefore, diagnose is to know, and diagnose is to know what is there. Now, nowadays, we also use the word prognosis. Prognosis. Now, this word is also very commonly used in the medical field today. We understand the meaning of the word diagnosis, but there is also a prognosis that the doctor does. So, what do we understand by the word prognosis? This also has that GNO, therefore, he definitely is trying to know something. So, what is that know? Now, if you look at the word prognosis, it has a PRO. All right. PRO has two meanings. It can give you two meanings. One, pro is in favor of. For example, if you are pro BJP, that means you are in favor of BJP. If you are pro CAA, then it means that you are in favor of CAA. Similarly, pro can also mean forward. For example, proceed, prolong. These words tell us we are talking about something that is that relates to forward. Now, what does prognosis mean then? Prognosis means that when the doctor is trying to figure out that what will this current problem lead to, he's diagnosed the problem. That means he's understood what the problem is. After that, what he does is he tries to tell us that what could be the results of this problem. And those results are called the prognosis, or where will this problem or disease lead to, then it becomes prognosis. All right, we have another word here, and that is prognosticate. Prognosticate. Now, prognosis is different from prognostication. Prognostication is looking into the future. All right. Prognosis literally applies only to medicine, but prognosticating is to look into the future. So I'm sure you are able to understand and correlate that how these little words that we call roots help you in understanding or at least coming close to the meaning of the word. All right. I'm also sure that you're making a note of all these words that I'm writing on the board, because these words may not be available in your handout. And when we are improving our vocabulary, it is just not the words that come that are there in the handout. We could learn some new words also, which are not probably present in the handout. All right. And in case it is there in the handout, then you can easily understand what is the meaning of that word. Right. So, the word diagnostic also, I'm sure you've understood. Normal and peculiar, you're well aware of. Therefore, I'm not touching those words. But let's move on now to the next word. Next word is complacent. Now, some of you may have heard the word complacent, because many times your parents also tell you during your board examinations or even earlier that don't be complacent. So what does the word complacent mean, and why does the word complacent spell with these letters? After all, the language is simply not, collecting a few letters and calling it a word. It is a collection of some particular letters. So why do we use those letters? So there is a scientific reason. There is some logic for using these particular letters and to give them a particular meaning. Now, when we look at the word complacent, first we have the word COM. When you see COM, CO, or CON, you should get a sense of togetherness. So, CON, COM will always give you a sense of together. For example, communication. Now, communication is also something where we are talking about togetherness or between two people. We talk about coordination, cooperation. So, most of these words that you find, especially the long words, conversation, you will definitely find an essence of the meaning of the word. All right? So, these words would mean together. And we have the other word that we have is PLAC. PLAC, PEAC, and PAC will all relate to calm. So, this word complacent will have something to do with calm. Can we find the meaning of the word now? Yes, the word is satisfied. If I give you some more words with these roots, peace, of course, is definitely related to calmness. We have the word placate. We also have the word pacify. Pacify, to calm somebody down. Somebody is in a bad temper and you pacify him, that means you are calming him down. We also use the same word, same meaning with the word placate also. To placate somebody is also to pacify him, to calm him down. This would also have the same meaning. We also have the word pacifist. Now, pacifist has an IST at the end. An IST at the end always relates to a person. So, when we are talking about a person, we will relate with the word pacifist, which means a person who believes in peace, a person who's a calm kind of a person and also wants to spread calmness all around. That person is called a pacifist. All right? We have another word for placate, and that word is appease. Although it does not have the same root, but this word should also be remembered. Appease, to appease somebody is to please somebody, to pacify somebody, to calm down somebody. All right? Now, can you understand that why does the word, the ocean, Pacific Ocean, be called a Pacific Ocean? And if you know the Hindi word for Pacific Ocean, it is Prashant, Prashant Mahasagar. So what does the word Prashant mean? Or why does the word, why does Pacific Ocean have Pacific in it, in its name? It is because Pacific Ocean is considered to be the calmest oceans of all the oceans that we have in the world. And that is why it is called a Pacific Ocean. It is the calmest ocean. All right? So, definitely somebody or whoever kept the name Pacific has a lot of reason for doing so. The other words, disappointed, evasive, and flimsy. Disappointed, you all know. Evasive. When are you evasive? When you're trying to avoid the attention of somebody or you're trying to avoid a person, then you're being evasive. Somebody asks you a question and you don't want to answer that question, then you're being evasive. So, we use the word evasive in that way. Evasive is an adjective and the verb that we get from here is evade. An accused may be evading arrest. So, evade is also used in that sense. We also use the word tax evasion. To evade, to avoid paying tax is tax evasion. Then we have the word flimsy. What is flimsy? Something that is not normal, something that is very jarring, something that is ill fitting, not fitting properly, is flimsy, or something that is not strong enough, logical enough, is also flimsy. For example, somebody gives a vague, excuse for taking leave, and the boss says, I cannot give you leave on these flimsy grounds. So, flimsy is something which is not logical, which is not true, which is not very clear. Then we use the word flimsy. All right. Next, we have the word exterminate. X will always indicate out. And term indicates end. X is out, like exit, and term is end. Can you guess the meaning of the word exterminate? If you are not sure about the word term to mean end, for example, a terminal, a bus terminal, a railway terminal, that means that is the place where a train or a bus ends its journey. That's called a terminal. And we have terminal of the batteries. The 2 points of the batteries are called the terminal. You have your terminal examinations also. So a term is a fixed period of time. So this word term relates to end. Somebody's job gets terminated, or he gets terminated from the company. That means his job has come to an end. So term does relate to end. Now, what would you understand of this word exterminate? ATE at the end also suggests that it's a verb. Many words like meditate, relate, cogitate, hesitate, all these words, ATE at the end, we call them suffix. If you have ATE as a suffix, then it also means that it is being used as a verb. Therefore, these suffixes may not be, giving a lot of meaning to the word. They are only being used to change it into its grammatical form. So, exterminate, the ATE is making it a verb. All right? OUS makes it a noun. So, a lot of words we have ION or OUS, and that makes it a noun. Next, if you look at the word exterminate, what should it mean? It means to finish off, to destroy completely is exterminate. And which word is the closest to it? The answer is annihilate. Option 4. Annihilation also means to destroy completely. Nihil relates to destroy. For example, we have a word nihilist. IST, I've already told you what IST means. So nihilist, what's a nihilist? A nihilist is a person who does not believe in the normal practices. For example, atheist. Atheist can also be called a nihilist. A person who doesn't believe what the others believe in is called a nihilist. So he destroys the general beliefs, is called a nihilist. All right? Next, we look at the word famished. Famished? Anybody knows the meaning of the word famished? I did not have my lunch and therefore I feel famished. Yes, the answer is hungry. So famished means hungry, and you've got that at option 2. Therefore, famished is rightly to mean hungry. Agricultural and prestigious, we all know what they mean. But what does the word feasible mean? Feasible means something that is doable, something that is practical is feasible. Now, let's understand the root here also. In feasible, we have FEA. FEA or FIC or FAC relates to doing or making something. To do or make is feasible. And when we look at the word fee here, what about factory? Does factory have something to doing or making? Manufacture. To manufacture. Manufacture also means to make. And interestingly, the word manufacture has MAN in it. MANU or MAN, what does it mean? Hand. Manual. Manual labor. So literally this word meant to make something with hands, was manufacturing. This word of course originated much before we had machines to make things. So literally making things out of hands was called manufacturing. And then when machines came, machine took over from the hands, and therefore the word still continued to be called manufacture. But literally the word could mean making something by hand is manufacture. We have a word fiction also. Something that is manufactured by the author is fiction. It is not true. Your school books can't be called fiction. So, this relates to something that is created, manufactured by the author, and therefore it's called fiction. Now I'll give you a word, and you have to guess the meaning of this word. The word is malfeasance. MALFEASANCE. Can you tell me the meaning of the word? Because I'm sure you know the meaning of the word mal. Mal is also a root which means bad. So can you guess what could it mean? Suppose you get it in the exam. Will you be able to rightly point out the meaning of the word malfeasance? Yes, absolutely correct. Malfeasance means to make something bad. In other words, a fault, a kind of a wrongdoing is called a malfeasance. So, sometimes we see that learning vocab can also be fun, because once you begin to start guessing the meaning of the word with the help of these roots, it could be fun between friends. So, sometimes you can also start playing these games, the vocabulary building as games, and start improving each other's vocabulary through this. You could have a group of students sitting together, group of friends sitting together, and start using some words and exchanging the meaning of the words, and do it as like a competition among all of you. All right. So malfeasance is also something which can be called a wrongdoing, anything not according to the rules, a fault, a mistake is a malfeasance. Okay. Next is umpteen. I've told you umpteen times to finish your work, and therefore the word umpteen would mean numerous. Absolutely. You've also seen the word convergent here. What does convergent mean? Convergent, as I've already told you, COM, means together. So converge. Converge means coming from all directions, meeting at one point, is called convergence. And the opposite of convergence, divergence. Divergence is moving in all directions from one point, is divergence. Next, please. The word is ostensible. Ostensible. Any clue? Anyone who knows the meaning of the word? Some of you may know the meaning of the word ostensible. Something that seems to be true, not certainly true, but seems to be true, not essentially true, but seems to be true. Therefore, what is the answer? Yes, absolutely. Option 3, apparent. is the answer. Strong, desirable, and fateful is our words. I'm sure you know fate is future, and fateful is something relating to future or something relating to luck. Fate is also a luck, and therefore relating to luck is fateful. Next, we have the word stalwart. Who's a stalwart? A stalwart is a person who is a specialist in his field. A stalwart is a person who is an expert in his field, is called stalwart because the word means strong. A stalwart from the medical industry. That means we are talking about a personality who's very strong, who's very learned, who's an expert in the medical field. So the word stalwart relates to strong or sturdy. Watchful, to be alert, delicate, you know, but what is encomium? Encomium. Encomium is a kind of a speech which is full of praise for somebody. So a speech of praise is called encomium. Encomium means praise. Okay. Next is munificence. Any clue what munificence means? Munificence is to be kind. Munificence relates to being kind. So, which word will be close to it? Yes, the answer is generosity. Muni, M-U-N-I, relates to doing of a duty or service. So, it relates to being, something relating to office or service or duty. Now, we also have the word immune. And in today's world, having a strong immunity is become almost a very important need for every citizen because we've seen one microorganism has threatened the entire world. Therefore, have a strong immunity, and you should, eat those things that will build your immunity. So, the word immune, if you notice the word immune, it relates to not being able to do your duty. Or if the virus attack is there, then if you have the immunity, that means you will fail the virus in doing its job, in doing its duty. That's how we look at the word immune, immunization. When we look at this word munificence, it would be closest to generosity because it also means kindness. Now we also have a word municipal. The word municipal, which we know is used for the office that takes care of all the jobs required in a city or a town, is called municipal. Now, the word municipal originated from meaning that a job that is to be done by the government was called the municipal. So we have, even the municipal corporations that we have in our country, they take care of all the services that the town requires. So that's why the word municipal. Animosity. What is animosity? Now, if I take you through the root of anim, it means mind, body, or soul. Anim relates to mind, body, or soul. If you look at the basic word of anim, and that is animal, it means anything that has a mind, body, or soul is an animal. When we animate something, what are we doing? We are trying to put in a mind, body, or soul into a non-living thing. That is called animation. So animation, animal, they relate to this. We also have a word, magnanimous. Magnanimous. OUS at the end tells you that it is an adjective. So when we use the word magnanimous, OUS does not have much role to play over here. We only have words of magna or MAGN and anim. Now what does MAGN mean? MAGN means magnify, big. To make it big is magnify. So what does magnanimous mean? Magna means big. Magnificent. Magnificent relates to something that is huge, big. Magna and anim. So having a large, big mind, body, or soul. Doesn't relate much to body. It relates to mind or soul. So somebody with a large soul, what do you mean? A person who's large-hearted. A person who's kind. So magnanimous means kind, large-heartedness is magnanimous. I hope you understand how we can connect the meanings and probably come close to the meaning of the word. Okay. We also have a word, unanimous. Unanimous. Now this is a combination again of two words, uni plus anim. Uni means one, and anim means mind, body, or soul. So having one mind, it was a unanimous decision, which means that it was a decision taken by everybody, or everybody agreed to one decision, and therefore it is called unanimous. So please relate to the meaning of the word. Unanimous clearly means of one mind or one soul. Now I want to teach you one more word here, and that is pusillanimous. Pusillanimous. Pusillanimous means a coward. So this word, if you come across in your exam, you should know the meaning of the word. It means a coward, a chicken-hearted person, a person who's got a very little heart, small heart, and that is why that's how we use the word pusillanimous. All right. So we have this word animosity. Now please understand, animosity is mind, body, or soul. Now animosity is slightly away from the real meaning or any positive meaning. It has a negative meaning. Animosity is having hatred, ill will towards somebody is called animosity. All right. So remember, this word animosity is slightly different from this. Having hatred towards somebody is animosity, and exhilaration. Second option says exhilaration. Exhilaration means excitement. Extreme excitement is exhilaration, and cooperation we all know. Next is ovation. Now what do we understand by the word ovation? The performer received a standing ovation from the audience. What does it mean? It means a lot of praise, standing ovation. Everybody stood up and cheered the performer, and therefore it has got something to do with praise. We did the word encomium also for praise. So please start memorizing or knowing, recalling the meanings of the words also. So the word closest to this would be applause. Growth, abuse, attraction, I'm sure you all know, therefore I'll not spend time on these words. Next is simulate. Any clue? What is to simulate? Yes, simulate is to copy, to make an extension of something, or to duplicate something is simulate, to imitate. Now here we have the word sim. What does the word sim mean? And as we already know, the word similar, it has the sense of same. So, sim means same or similar. You know, if any of you want to do flying, you need a CPL, you need a commercial pilot license. And to get a commercial pilot license, you have to undergo a lot of training. And a part of the training is that you actually have to fly an aircraft also. All right, you have to log in a few hours of flying. So how do they do? Do they put you in a real aircraft to teach you how to fly a plane? No. What they do is they have a kind of a chamber built which is exactly like the cockpit of an aircraft. And you sit there and it's on the ground, so they don't take risks with you going up in the air and then learning how to fly. So they have this chamber built. It's exact replica of aircraft's cockpit, and you're supposed to control the aircraft. It is not flying, it is there, but you control the aircraft with various conditions. So they teach you, they train you, and you also learn on that chamber, and that chamber is called a simulator because it is an exact replica of an actual cockpit. So this is called a simulator. To simulate means to do exactly the same. We also have the word simplify. Now, when we simplify something, of course, we are making it easier, but you should also remember that it has got something where it's the same thing. If I simplify an expression, what am I doing? It's the same expression, but I'm only making it simpler. Simple also is the word. Now, I did the word FEA, FIC, FAC with you, and I told you it means to make. Please also add another word here, and that is FY. FY is also a part of the same group, which means to make. For example, magnify, simplify. So we give the sense of making it simpler, making it bigger, magnify. All right? So FI also falls in the same category. These words, simulate would then be closest to, yes, option 3, pretend. Accumulate, smile, gamble, they are all words that are quite different from what simulate means. So the first 10 questions we were looking at synonyms. In the next 10 questions we are looking at antonyms. The first word as an antonym is immaculate. Immaculate means something that is pure. So, which word will be opposite of pure? Yes, obviously, unclean. Therefore, the correct answer is unclean. Immobile. Please remember, IM indicates we are making it an opposite. So, mobile and immobile, mobile, it becomes an opposite. And of course, motherly and accumulated are also a part of these options. But I'm sure you know the meaning of these words. Next word. Next word we are dealing with is aggravate. In aggravate, we have the word GRAV, which means heavy. Now, how do we understand the word aggravate and grav meaning heavy? For example, gravity. Now, gravity is also a force that pulls you down. So, it acts as a heavy force that pulls everything down towards itself. So, it's heavy. We can't defy gravity. All right. Now, we also say somebody is in grave danger. The grave, the other grave also, and being in grave danger. Grave danger means a strong danger, heavy danger is grave danger. And of course, the grave itself is also supposed to be in the ground, and therefore it has something to do with heaviness. All right? And if we look at the word engrave, when we engrave something, what are we doing? We are actually writing on stone, a metal, then that is called an engraving. So it's supposed to be a heavy kind of writing, and that is why it is called engrave. And now we come to the word aggravate. Aggravate very clearly means something that makes it heavier or something that makes it worse is aggravate. This flood situation has aggravated, it means that it has become worse. And if you look at the words over here where we can get a opposite of this word, can you tell me what could be the word? The answer is option 3, ameliorate. Now, ameliorate, AM means friend or love. If I look at the word ameliorate, it means friend or love, or when I look at the word am. Am comes from the word amour in French, which actually means love. Now, if I give you some English words that could relate with am, is amiable, amicable. What does amiable mean? Friendly. He's an amiable person. That means he's a friendly person, makes friends very easily. He's amiable. The second word, amicable. Now, amicable also means friendly. But can we use them interchangeably, or they have different applications? Amiable works more with people. When we say he's amiable, it means he's friendly. We can't use the word amicable for a person. But you could have an amicable solution to a problem. If two people are fighting and you provide a solution to them and you say the matter has been settled amicably, that means both the parties are very happy with the settlement, with the agreement, and therefore we use the word amicable. We have another word, and that is amenable. Somebody is amenable. It means a person who can bend easily. He's not very rigid in his thinking, so he agrees to what people say, and therefore he's amenable. Certainly a positive word. All right? And we also have a word, amorous. A-M-O-R-O-U-S. I've already told you what amour is in French. But the word amorous is an English word. Now, mind you, this is deviating 180 degrees from the meaning of the word love and friend. It is actually a negative word. Amorous looks means sexual looks. Full of lust is amorous. So, amorous is to be treated as a negative word. Amorous is not a positive word. These are the small little, problems with learning our language. We sometimes relate with the root in such a strong manner that we may falter. So we have to be a little careful. These are exceptions to the rule. They may be 1% of the out of the total. Therefore, we also have to learn some words which may not truly have the same meaning, but slightly deviating from the real meaning. Therefore, very important, we should know the meaning. Now, the word ameliorate. Ameliorate means to make better, to improve. His medical condition has ameliorated, which clearly means that the situation has improved. Therefore, this word am, although most of the time positive, but it may have a negative word also in it. So we have to be a little careful with our vocabulary. We should try to know the meanings of these words with the way they are, and also see if there is more than one meaning of the word.